Okay. Did you email me the presentation or are you gonna present, just show from?
If you want me to do it here, I can.
That's great. Either, which would you prefer?
We can just do it here.
Okay, nice. All right. Let's admit a couple more people and welcome to the June 2026. Gotta remember all of that. Ballpark Community Council meeting. We got, it looks like an empty room. It's not. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people here. So thanks for joining us, 12 participants on the event, and whoever gets to watch this over YouTube. Thanks for some board members who are here. Trustee Jeff Sandstrom. Hey, Peter, nice to see you. And Detective Swift, you're in uniform, so that means that your time is valuable, and we should have you talk to us briefly, and then you might need to go skedaddle.
Yeah, no, sure, absolutely. Start off with that.
Yeah. Yeah, just some visual, we all know your excellent voice, but just some people on the internet can feel more connected to you. If you want.
Yeah, no, just nothing real new. The numbers are actually looking real good. They're down, I think, 7-8%. I don't know where this camera.
There you go.
Yeah, numbers are down. I believe around 8% year over year right now. We've had a couple of little increases on the east side on some violent stuff, but it was mostly like domestics, things that aren't like out in the general neighborhood, that kind of thing. Of course, we're keeping an eye on right now. There's been a big push on the transient activity and things in the green spaces, parks, and on the trails, and that is looking like maybe it's pushing a little bit into the neighborhoods. So I'll just reiterate stuff you guys are seeing. I know the dispatch number can be a pain to call and like be on hold and that kind of stuff. So just putting out a reminder, the MySLC app is really useful that way. It's got, if you guys download that and get on it, it's actually got a button right on front that lists certain things. Graffiti's a big one. There's also a specific one for homeless, any kind of transient issues. You hit on that, there'll be like half a dozen options. Like if you see needles or paraphernalia, shopping cart, encampment, abandoned stuff, you can just report it right on there. Oh, yeah.
Does that like allow you to take pictures?
I've not tried to upload a picture on it yet. And some of the functions on there, I think, do. I'm not sure, but
Pictures uploaded.
Yeah.
the pictures upload just fine. Okay. Yeah, because it'll let you put in a location, and those guys are quick turnaround. 'Cause I know I use it on graffiti. Usually within a day or two, those guys are on it and it's gone. So it's very speedy. And again, that also generates data for our hotspots and all our civil response teams, outreach, all those guys. So yeah, just a reminder that the app is super useful. It's quick. That'll definitely help direct resources in your direction. Get us. Anything specific you guys have seen come up you need?
I'm as guilty as anybody. I saw some folks just openly, smoking meth across the street from my house in the middle of the afternoon. And talked to Deputy Chief
Christiansen.
Thank you. I never know where to put the extra syllable. Christiansen this morning, and he was like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "Well, we're seeing a little more of this than we would like, and that we had before." And he said, you call dispatch? And I said, "I never know what to say." And he said, "Call and tell me how that conversation goes." And so I guess I would urge everybody else to do the same thing, to call. And if you don't have a productive interaction with dispatch, and maybe that's happened to most of us in this room, then there are folks in the system who want to address that.
Definitely. You send me a message if you don't get that outcome. Again, be very specific. Yeah, there's 3 guys look like they're smoking meth out on the sidewalk. This is where they're at. This is what they're wearing. You can keep it real brief and just say exactly what you're seeing. You don't have to be coy about it. You see that pipe with the round ball on the end, it's probably what they're doing. It's not something else. So yeah, definitely. You see something like app, dispatch, whatever, because again, all those stats, those generate resources. I mean, those direct outreach, Volunteers of America, bike unit, homeless resource squad, all of that gets directed on those numbers. So definitely reach out anytime, just whatever works for you guys. All right, I'll hang out for a minute in case something else comes up, but sounds good.
Thanks for your efforts. I know, some folks raised to me the issue of those 2 domestic shooting issues that we had, incidents this month.
Yeah, those are very hard to, on a preventative side.
I mean, the only thing I know to do to talk about it is just talk about that we do have mental health crisis care available.
Yes, and
And so-
yeah, maybe put out there again, they can call us even for like a verbal argument, and we will give them a list of resources, connections to victim advocates, all that stuff. There's definitely resources, just anyone in a situation can reach out.
I wanted to just make a comment. So as a property owner, one of the things that I face is that you want people to call in a crime, but then when it's time to renew your insurance, you're in a high crime area, you have higher insurance rates. So it's like this, you know, double-edged swords.
Sure, but typically most of that is gonna get reported, but if the resources get directed over there, that should bring your overall call volume down. Back in,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Good point.
and so I mean, it's, yeah, I mean. I would say report it, because that's definitely, again, that's how it's 2026, everything is very heavily data driven. I mean, we have a weekly meeting. It's every Thursday morning, it's park rangers, it's PD, it's fire guys, it's Volunteers of America, it's the cleanup, it's the guys who do mobile outreach to the people living in vehicles. I mean, it is everyone, and that is weekly, and that is all very numbers driven. So when you guys generate those hotspots, on whether, again, the app's good for that, because the app isn't necessarily an immediate PD thing if it's not a crime, but it will direct those resources without necessarily generating them. Again, that's totally situational. Like, obviously, if it's an in progress crime, definitely call us. But again, if it's stuff you're just seeing, kind of a chronic thing, it's not immediate, feel free to use the app. The app's good, man. The app is very responsive. It generates that data for us.
Thank you.
Alrighty. I don't think anybody else in here is public safety unless you're secret public safety.
We're all public safety. We all care. We keep us safe.
Megan, would you care to introduce yourself and talk to us about the central community plan, the document that will guide all thinking for the next 15 years?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. So I'm gonna unmute. And
Well, this year.
Don't unmute. Don't
Don't
unmute. You are going to be picked up by the microphone. If you want to scoot closer to it, that could be fine, but like unmuting will create.
yes, chaos.
Horrible.
That's why I wanted to check before I did that.
Thank you.
But you share your.
Oh, but I need to make you a co-host, so.
Let me know when you're ready.
Is your. There you are, okay. Make you co-host my other computer. Okay, this meeting's being recorded, that's cool. Peter, do you have any more deep thoughts?
I can give you a lot of deep thoughts, none of value though. Well, I can tell a story if you want. Just had a dispatch call. These guys were behind a dumpster, had the little bike, you know, with their backpacks. That knew exactly who they were and called the dispatch and it's like, I think these guys are back here doing drugs. By the way, I was just with the chief about a block away. Guys, how do you know they were doing drugs? I was like, well, they're sitting behind the dumpster with their little bike and backpack. Well, you know, unless you see them, there's not much you can do.
That's the conversation I hate to have.
Yeah.
How do you know they're doing drugs? And like, well, I haven't done meth personally, but it really looks like, you know.
And even if you can't see exactly, you can throw it in and be like, hey, they're hunched over, they're clearly holding something up to their face, like whatever it is you can see, definitely relate that, because I mean, little details like, hey. And if you're not getting a response, let me know, because if you get that call, like, hey, there's two guys behind the dumpster, crowd filled, holding something in their hands.
Covering your
That's-
face.
Yeah, that's not how most of us hang out in the alley, right? So we should be coming out to check those out.
I said it, I really just want to give you the statistic for your record.
Yeah.
I think we're ready. Just put it on if you're ready.
We would love to hear about,
I'll start and then Megan will take over.
And I'm so sorry, I don't recognize.
It's okay, I'll introduce myself. So
Thank
I'm Chrissy Gilmore with the Planning Division, and it's nice to, I haven't been here for a long time, so I only recognize a couple of faces, so sorry about that, but it's nice to be here. And I will just preface this by you are our very first presentation, so be gentle with us, but also give us constructive feedback if stuff doesn't make sense, because we'll be doing this presentation for a couple months now, so. Okay, so we are starting with the Planning Division, the process to. Oh. Yes, it's like. Oh. There we go. We're starting the process to update the central community plan. So the plan was last updated in 2005, and that's more than 20 years ago, so it's time for an update. And at the same time, the city, the planning division also has a goal to update all of our neighborhood plans over the next few years. So we just finished Northwest. Northwest is in the process, and then at the end of the process, Avenues and Capitol Hill are also in the middle and near the end of the process. And now it's Central City or Central Community's turn. And so if you don't know what a community plan is, it's the guiding document. It's like the blueprint.
Oh, so sorry, we're getting a request for a bit louder.
Oh, yeah.
Would it be okay to ask you to scoot closer to
Yeah.
that? You can come hang out with me if you want, or you can hang out with Erica, but
Okay.
I got that. Thank you, Sharon, for making that request.
This also feels more natural to me,
It does.
weirdly, even though it should be more intimidating. But okay, so one of the main points for our plan update though is that we're trying to align all of our future land uses. So we have 10 community plans, and they all have different land use categories. And even if they say the same thing, like if it says multifamily, it means different things in different plan areas. You'll need to advance the slide, so sorry. It means different things in different plan areas, and that makes it hard for public utilities to gauge water demand that's needed. It makes it hard for transportation to figure out future capacity on roads. So that is one key thing that will come out of this is a consistent future land use map categories among all of our plan areas. And then we're going to be, one of the main goals is to align the plan with Plan Salt Lake, Growing Water Smart, and then Housing SLC. All right, next slide, Megan. So as far as our planning process, we've done some of the prep work, we've started setting up events, and then we did the existing conditions report, which was published today. So please check that out. Well, it's a mammoth, it's huge, but there's a lot of information to cover. And Central Community is unique in that we can't just say Central Community is XYZ this, because of it varies so much between neighborhoods that we had to dive into the neighborhood level for this plan. So we're just in our public engagement, our initial public engagement, where we're asking, what do you love? What are the issues in the community? What should change? And getting that feedback. After this, which we anticipate being around mid-July, we're going to analyze that feedback and then bring it back in the early fall with our ideas, with proposed policies and ideas, and get your feedback on that. And then we're hoping to have a draft plan ready for review by the end of the year. Next slide. And I kind of just said that, but the more consolidated timeline is right now we're figuring out opportunities and issues. We will be getting to big ideas, which is what we heard and what we're planning on doing about that. And then the final plan or the final vision by the end of the year, and then the adoption process. All right, next slide.
So I'm going to speak loud, and online tell me, I want to make sure you can hear. But just to introduce the plan area boundaries, the plan area is approximately 6 square miles or 3,885 acres in size. It is actually comparable in size to both Capitol Hill and Avenues, which was surprising to us. The plan area contains 5 neighborhoods. For the purpose of this meeting, I have highlighted anything of Ballpark kind of circled as you see here, so you can pay specific attention to that area. The community council and the Ballpark boundaries match exactly, so this should be very helpful to compare parts of the whole. They don't?
They don't.
Not perfectly?
Mhm.
Okay, I hope they did.
We go up to 7-7.
Oh, 7 so, okay, noted, thank you. But it still should visually help for this purpose. So the planning of the city, as we all know, began with the plat of Zion, dividing up the neighborhood blocks. And then that changed as you go south with the build survey, which includes all the other neighborhoods. The plat of Zion only layout was with Central City and East Central. And I'm gonna go through some of these things kind of quickly. If you have any questions, we can definitely address them at the end. This next slide shows the development periods and how this area developed. In the early 20th century, there was rapid residential development and growth. And then in the late 20th century, there was commercial redevelopment and infill. The early 21st century, we're seeing an increase in multifamily development along corridors. And you can see that in red along the Sharks line and along Farmwood South. One thing we do have to talk about is redlining and equity in the plan areas. This was originally developed for mortgage lending, and marginalized groups were confined to less desirable areas in this shape development, and those patterns continue today. This next map shows the building footprints. We thought it was a very helpful visual to illustrate the changes in building size and the development across different areas of the community. There's variations in footprint size and density. We want to highlight the patterns of growth, redevelopment, and land use, which within each of the neighborhoods and zoning districts. So with that, we'll turn it back over to Christy.
Back. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the existing conditions. Probably do it pretty high level. The existing conditions document is 80 front and back pages, so it's got a lot of information in it, and I just can't get through all of it in a few minute slideshow, but I'll try to hit on some of those main points. So next slide, please. So Central Community compared to Salt Lake City is more renter occupied with fewer single family homes and more multifamily housing. There's fewer children with more working age adults, more likely to live alone and in non-family households. There was some sensitivity with saying non-family households, and we're just using the census term. The census defines non-family as individuals that aren't related living together. It's not anything, we're just following what the census said. So Central Community has fewer residents age 60 and above and smaller average household size.
Sorry, can I be an idiot? And like married people generally are related to each other. Do they count as a family?
Yeah, they would count as one.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then more highly educated, but this is interesting to me, more highly educated, but with a lower median income and higher poverty rates. And we thought, well, that's probably because of lots of students, but this actually includes youth and seniors are higher in the Central Community than in other areas. And then less auto dependent with fewer residents driving alone and higher rates of walking, biking, and transit use, and working from home. But it's very important to note, like I mentioned, it's hard for us to say the Central Community is because of the neighborhoods are so different that this is important and it's interesting to hear these things, but it really does vary by each neighborhood, which I'll try and get into. The next slide. So population growth, the Central Community, not just Ballpark, but the whole plan area is 25% of the city's population. It's home to 51,366 residents. The plan area has had a growth rate of about 10% since 2010. For comparison, the national average is about 7%. But that growth, as you can see here, has not been evenly distributed. So Ballpark is at a 46% growth rate, and the north section of the plan area is also higher. But then we have these areas that are losing population. So there's some that are fairly consistent, but it isn't consistent across the plan area. Next slide. And then race and ethnicity. So overall, Central Community is less diverse than Salt Lake City as a whole, with minorities comprising 27% of the local population compared to 35% citywide. And then residents who identify as white make up 73% of the population in Central Community. And then those identifying as Hispanic and Latino are the second largest group at 14%. But again, if you want to go to the next slide. There are some differences between the neighborhoods, with Ballpark at the highest Hispanic and Latino population at 26%. And then you can see the white and the different percentages there. Okay, next slide. So age distribution. So the Central Community has a median age of 33 years, which is actually generally in line with the city's median age, which is 34 years. That said, the community skews slightly towards college age and working adults, and it has significantly fewer children, particularly those 5 to 7. and it has fewer seniors than other neighborhoods. So the median age is the same, but it actually, the breakup is very different. Additionally, age distribution varies across the plan area. So as shown in the map, the northern portion has significantly fewer households with children compared to the southern portion. And then if I wish to show the inverse of this map, the northern portion has much more significant college age students than the southern portion. And another thing that I was thinking about is, remember the earlier slide, how it showed that growth, these areas were losing population. I was thinking, well, maybe that's like families moving out, but then this is the areas with the highest amount of kids. So I don't know how these things relate, but I'm just trying to make sense of it. And that's one thing that came to mind was how these numbers are fitting together.
More VRBOs.
Yeah, that could be it. And that's something we can look into. Yeah, next slide. Let's go. Then income. So the median household income in Central Community is approximately 63,000, compared to the citywide average of 75,000. So that's more than 10,000 lower than the citywide median. But income varies significantly across neighborhood. So Central, City, East Central, and Ballpark all have median household incomes below 55,000, while Liberty exceeds the citywide average at 85,000, and East Central South is even higher than that. About 41% of households in the Planet area earn less than 50,000 per year. Overall, the typical Central Community household earns 60% of the area median income, placing them in the low income category. And even with these neighborhood differences, all 5 areas of the Central Community remain below Salt Lake City's metro average, which of 100% area median income. So the metro average is Tooele County and Salt Lake County combined. And so we are significantly below that because it's 106,000. So this just indicates that there could potentially be not only a housing affordability challenge, but just a general, life challenge with these low incomes.
Quick question, that the income level, is that based on family of 4 or is it individual?
The area median income is 4, yeah.
4.
Next slide. And so this relates to poverty and income. I'll just kind of touch on this one quickly, but Central Community has a higher rate of residents that are living in poverty. So particularly if you see the youth and senior, Ballpark is one of the higher ones, as well as Central Community at 29% of almost 30% of Ballpark youth are living in poverty. Seniors, it's over 30%. And that you can just see from this chart how much it varies from neighborhood to neighborhood. And then I'll go to the next slide, which ties to this. So that brings us to housing affordability. Housing is generally considered affordable when household expenses are no more than 30% of your gross, you spend no more than 30% of your gross income on housing costs. And when you spend more than that, you're considered cost burdened. Housing costs can make it difficult for families to afford essential needs. And so this is one thing that there's a lot on this slide now that I'm seeing it up, but one thing I thought was important to talk about. So the median home value in Central Community is 470,650, which is slightly lower than Salt Lake City. The median rent and mortgage costs are also slightly below citywide averages. However, despite these lower housing costs, residents of Central Community experience a higher cost burden, which means that they're spending more than 30% of their income on housing as a whole. And I think I might have already mentioned this, but 40% of Central Community households earn under $50,000. And this challenge is especially pronounced among renters who face substantially higher cost burden rates than homeowners in every neighborhood in Central Community. And then to bring it back to Ballpark, this issue is even more pronounced in Ballpark because the median household income is $50,000. And then I did want to show, it's hard to see here, but I think this is an interesting graphic. It's the cost burden scenario. So if the average home price is $470,000, a 6% interest rate, you can only put down 5%. Your monthly mortgage would be $3,371. So for you to afford that house and not be cost burdened, you'd have to make $134,000 a year compared to the median income in Ballpark of $50,000. So that just shows how there's just a huge disconnect between housing and attainable housing. Okay, next slide, please.
Yeah.
And then zoning, we're planners, we're gonna say we have to talk about zoning a little bit, but I'll be very brief. This is about what you'd expect. 58% of the plan area is zoned for residential, 29% is mixed use. The land uses on the ground actually follow the percentages pretty well, besides industrial development, which is that light gray. Only 2.6% of the land is zoned industrial, but about 7% of the land uses are in reality industrial. But yeah, it's the land use and zoning are pretty well aligned. So that's all I'll say on this one. Next slide. Existing housing types. So there are approximately 30,051 housing units in Central Community, which is 28% of Salt Lake City's total housing stock. Of those, I think it's interesting to show that single family homes account for 30% of those housing units, but 69% of the residential land area, where apartments, they account for 63% of the total housing units, but they only take up 21% of the land area. That's, you know, and Megan probably has more thoughtful stuff, but it does also show the alignment of like the multifamily in the dark purple or blue along our key corridors here and then spread out. Okay, next slide. And then density, just for your fact or for your info, the average density in the plan area, the housing density, so units per acre, is 12.7 units per acre. And the majority of the Central Community would fall into what the planning division considers our low to moderate density designation. And just for reference, the citywide average is 9.5 units per acre, but when you take out Central Community, it's 8.9. And then you can see the breakup of the individual neighborhoods there and the density levels. Okay, that's all I have on. Megan, do you want to come up and I can do slides?
Yeah.
Or not, whatever you want.
Okay, I'll just continue to not break up the presentation. I'll speak loudly again. So our next section, we wanted to talk about transportation and mobility and just kind of show our arterial roads, east-west connections, north-south connections, and then our areas with active transportation, including bike lanes, neighborhood byways. Ballpark has less connectivity than other neighborhoods, as you can see in the section that I highlighted. But also Ballpark has a lot of potential with transit service. But the Central Community overall has 6 frequent bus routes, 9 other bus routes. 98.3% of households are within a 4th mile of a bus stop, which we thought was great. We have green line, red line, blue line, and looks like 26.3% of households are within a 4th mile track. So we have great bus access, could have better track access. Parks, recreation, and open space. I wanted to talk about this because Central Community has the lowest park access of any planning area. Even though, you know, you see the number of parks that we have, and there are no natural lands, although there is trail and street access to the natural areas. In the existing conditions report, there is a trails map overlaid with the street bike map that shows access to the natural areas. So be sure to check out that. But there is a deficit in both parkland, open space, per capita. Level of service is, are there enough parks? And then walkability is, can you get to a park? So this just, I want to kind of highlight that significant gap in park access. Here I wanted to include the urban tree coverage and heat watch map. Urban tree canopy coverage refers to the percentage of land area shaded by trees when viewed from above. Areas with lower tree canopy generally correspond to locations with higher surface temperatures, as shown in the heat map. I kind of highlighted those two. You can see the darker red is in the area with less trees. This relationship highlights the importance trees play in reducing that urban heat island, providing shade and improving neighborhood resilience to rising temperatures. We'll just highlight historic preservation. In this area, there are 3 local historic districts, 8 national registered districts, and 89 individual sites listed, and those are all individually marked on the map and labeled within the existing conditions report. If you want to check that out further. So some key takeaways from everything we just said. Growth is concentrated right now in Ballpark and Central City. Housing affordability remains a challenge. There is strong transit and an active transportation network. With uneven access to parks and open space as well as tree coverage in the plan area. There are historic inequalities that continue to influence community conditions. And as Christy highlighted and said several times, there's significant variation among the neighborhood. So just looking forward, what we're doing is public engagement right now. We've had 4 in-person tabling events. We were at the Youth Cityville, the Living Traditions Festival. We participated at Clayton Middle School, had a career day, and some of the end-of-year activities at the University of Utah. We're currently doing stakeholder interviews. As mentioned, we have published the project on Shape SLC. The survey is open. Please take it. And currently we have, I think we have 49 responses as of this afternoon. So we would like to definitely get more within phase 1. We are going to be doing some upcoming outreach events. We'll be presenting this existing conditions report to the Planning Commission next Wednesday. And we'll be presenting to Historic Landmark Commission in July. We do have 2 open houses, and we're trying to hit the east side of the plan area and the west side. So we have an open house at Finch Lake Gallery on June 16th and one at Tracy Aviary on June 18th. We're going to be doing a few different pop-up engagement events, so keep an eye on the website. Those will be updated. We do have one scheduled at the library lab, and we are doing a few neighborhood walks. One I want to highlight for Ballpark is the June 24th meeting. We're actually going to be working with Sweet Lake Biscuits and Limeade, and we're going to be doing a walk audit. I'm working out the details on that, but we'd love the support of Ballpark Community Council for that event. And then and that will be kind of like a west side walk audit, and we are partnering with the Transportation Division to do an east side walk audit. So we're trying to vary the outreach events that we're doing to reach as many people as we can. So here's the QR code to the survey link. I'll leave that up for a minute if anyone wants to scan it, or any of those online. And then we'll just kind of open it up for questions. And that's what we have for you this evening.
Thank you.
The comment, I took the survey today, so I may be number 50.
Oh, good.
49. There was one button where it said other, but I think it was supposed to have something else to fill in, but it didn't.
Oh, there's a link missing.
I think so.
Okay, we'll check
Unless
that.
I stay, which is awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for spelling Ballpark as one word instead of 2. Not saying that there are plenty of city documents that, but it's one word.
Now I'm gonna just have my eye on that
I
all
will
the
too.
time.
Sorry, it's
That's okay.
once you started noticing it, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're named after stadium, not like the park honored by Mr. Ball or something.
Then you're gonna ask another question. Oh, go ahead. I'm talking too much.
Oh, no, you're not. Anyway, a quick comment. I noticed that you identified that there's an issue in Ballpark with heat island effect, less tree canopy than the rest of the city, and less open space and less park space in our area. I just wanted to comment that is why we as a community council and their neighborhood organizations are continually requesting that the rezone of the ballpark focus more on open space, tree canopies, and park space in there rather than infill with housing and hotel.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's been a big effort.
We will be coordinating with the CRA throughout this process in regards to Ballpark, so and the rezone.
How many areas are there? So there's Central City and then How many other ones? I was curious.
So there's 5 neighborhood planning areas and then 13 sub-neighborhoods within those.
Within the central community plan, but we have 10 overall.
Overall,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
Are you going to be, I didn't see in the list of your plans. But I don't know the timing of this plan either, but it seems like you and Climate Forward SLC might be on like a similar timeline in terms of plan completion. Is there a way that you can cross pollinate?
Yeah, definitely. We'll be coordinating with all of our other city divisions and making sure that our plans are aligning.
Yeah, that's.
And actually, why that's brought up, so you probably remember the Central Point plan along 300 West.
Yeah,
That will be just looped into this plan and adopted at the same time,
okay.
which is why you haven't seen it for a while. So we knew
Okay.
this was coming and we decided just to wait and do that at the same time.
You may have been at meetings where you heard me express that, like, where did it go?
I
Multiple
don't
times.
blame you for wondering, because it kind of disappeared for a minute, so.
We should make sure that the feedback about that plan gets looped in. Like, I think the plan still states that we should put a linear park in next to the tracks line, and UTA is not down for that. They made that clear in writing, and I'm happy to pass that along.
Yeah, these two.
Yeah, what? At the end of all of this, you know, what will that look like? I mean, what am I? What are we see? What are you asking us to see into the future and see? You know,
Yeah,
I don't like.
so that's. a
Are
fair
we?
question.
Are we like because you're the city and you? What are we looking at here?
So the plan will be organized to follow, you know, housing, parks and rec, and each one of those sections will have recommendations and policies so that when the city council is looking at a rezone, for example, it'll have guiding document like. It'll have guiding statements about what type of housing should go in that location, what type of amenities and services. So it'll really just have a bunch of policies and then some action items, like a new park, for example, or something like that in this area. But it is high level.
So
It's
this is
not-
just kind of like a. What are you as a citizen like a wish list, and then you take that into consideration for when you are taking other things into consideration
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not zoning, so it's not law. It is a guiding document that we as planning staff will use when we're working on planning initiatives that the city council uses, planning commission. So it's just a vision. It's a vision for what the future should look like.
And if I could add something, you know, I really want to get as much community feedback about this because then that's kind of my marching orders as a city council member. What do you want me to prioritize? I've heard really clearly that access to green space and safe green space is important. Access to affordable home ownership is important to folks, which is something I really want to push for more in the neighborhood.
Looks like housing at all affordable.
Affordable housing, so those are just some things, but I don't wanna put in your head what I wanna really hear from you, what are those things that should be prioritized so that when something comes before the city council, whether it's a zoning request or something, it also gives me the ability to say, this isn't just Erica, city council member who believes this is the community who responded and shared, this is what they want me to prioritize. So the survey really does matter to me, and so I thank anybody who takes the time and tell your neighbors to provide that feedback.
Thank you.
It is interesting to look at the plan from 2005. I was reading it today about how, you know, a lot of the issues identified in that plan still exist.
Yeah.
Specifically for the neighborhood, but whew, I believe it identifies that 40% of the housing units in Ballpark used to be owner occupied. We've tanked, so
How was the percentage now?
under 20.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
85% renters. Ish.
Welcome to a new world.
Is that because of the increase in apartments or even the homes, single family homes are being rented occupied? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, but certainly Yeah, I mean, it's not just it's not just apartments that are rental too, like some of the townhome communities that have gone up are rental townhomes as well.
And the duplexes, et cetera.
Are there any questions online? I can't see from here.
Nope. Last thing on there is me saying fill out the survey, but if anybody wants to raise their virtual paw and ask a question. I don't know, it'll be exciting to see, but yeah, we feel like we've been hammering the drum of we want green space for a while. And you know, sometimes planning commissioners have reflected back to us that they've heard that. And yet,
Yeah, doesn't seem, I mean, because a lot of property is so private, right? And like, there's not really a lot of say, it feels like, in what happens to the world around us, because it's all owned by somebody that we don't know.
not the ballpark, it's owned by the city.
Oh, the actual ballpark.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
Well, see,
We're looking for all of those ideas and creative solutions too. So it's kind of really the time to really dream big and vision big. And so any ideas you have, please let us know.
There are some like things on the old plan that look crazy to me, like adding some of the trails that it predicted were going to be added and utilizing some of the underneath the interstate space. It's interesting to see the ideas that
Yeah,
did not
that
come to
didn't go
fruition at all. But
Liberty Park used to have a zoo.
Yeah, we still got an amusement park in there. And the aviary.
Yeah,
yeah, I wondered if the aviary counted as green space since you have to pay to access it.
I think
And
it
there
did
it was
because it's
the big-
included within the boundaries of Liberty Park. So I think it did.
yeah, and the map, it was all one big green swath.
Yeah. I think we have in the past.
Just interesting. All right, well, I look forward to engaging on this plan as it moves forward. Is there gonna be like a compare and contrast with the old plan?
Yeah, there is a plan audit at the back of the existing conditions where you can see where we've taken a look at it.
I mean, some of these ideas still seem fresh, right? Like include schools as park sites. This is in the 2005 plan, and if anything, that's like
Yeah.
more relevant now that some of those school sites have been vacated.
Definitely, that'll be a big opportunity in this state, so schools.
Yeah. And with the Solid Government Center and new schools and other
Mhm.
properties that we want to look at, you know, get ideas for opportunities for those.
Yay, opportunities.
Opportunities.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Do you feel good about your first presentation?
We're confident. Thank you.
Let's see. Amanda is online. I should have found her early. Okay, let's see. Chad is also online. And Brandy, you're here in person. That's exciting. Good sleep. Okay. Hey, Chad and Amanda, would you like to talk to us a little bit about the alley request for Intermountain Health? With us?
Absolutely.
Hi.
Sure.
I'll let Chad go through the request and the purpose of it, and then I can answer any process questions or city related questions.
Cool. You should both be able to share your screen if you'd like to.
I don't have anything to share. I'm not sure if Chad does, but
No, I don't. I think it'll be pretty straightforward. Yeah, and I can jump right in, Amanda. So, hi, this is Chad Moynihan. So I'm on the real estate team with Intermountain Health, and I'm kind of helping out with the hospital site in downtown Salt Lake, and more specifically the off-site parking area that's just to the west. And so for those of you who are not familiar, this is the Sears block in downtown Salt Lake, and then the site specifically that's requesting the alley vacation is just across the street from that, adjacent to the Garf dealership. So to make a long story short, I think it's fairly simple, but Intermountain owns a couple parcels there that are not adjacent, not contiguous, and Garf owns a couple parcels there that are not adjacent and not contiguous. And in between those, there is a landlocked area that was at one point designated for a alleyway, a public right of way, if you will, that kind of runs through the middle. So that area is actually currently being used by the auto body shop that rents from Intermountain.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, Amanda. That's really helpful.
I was going to do the same thing. I'm glad you're doing it.
Yep. So you can see it's at the southeast corner of Main and 800 South there. But what this map doesn't show, there's actually within that larger yellow box, there are 4 parcels that make up that corner, and then there's a alleyway that's the vertical yellow rectangle that kind of runs in the middle of that and dead ends into a lot that is currently a Hertz car rental. And so between the parties, between Intermountain and Garf, nobody currently uses that alleyway. It's actually is more kind of a circulation lane for the auto body shop and for Garf, which parks some additional cars on it. And so as part of the hospital project, we are looking to vacate that alleyway and then reconfigure the orientation of the lot such that, Garf is combining their 2 pieces into one, and they would have kind of the southeast corner, and then Intermountain would have the northern part, which would be more mid-block on Main Street to accommodate a parking garage. And so maybe I'll pause there and see if anybody has any questions or I guess any comments on that so far.
So the idea is that folks would access that parking garage via skybridge as opposed to like a mid-block crossing or something like that?
That's the idea. That's kind of what we've been talking with the city about, is a skybridge that would go up over Main Street and then connect to the Sears block site to the east.
Oh, yeah. Trying to think of other sky bridges we have in the city, right? We've got
City Creek.
We've got one at City Creek, and I think we've got a few at the University of Utah Hospital.
Yeah, you also have one connecting to. There's also a sky bridge. I'm not sure when it was built, but going across to Trolley Square. But I'll quickly speak about the proposed sky bridge. The applicant will need to apply for a partial street vacation. That will go before the Planning Commission and then the City Council. They have not done that yet. And so if they do want to propose the sky bridge, it'll have to go through a city process. And then with the parking structure that is being proposed, they're working on a development agreement that would need to be approved by the City Council to build the parking structure without meeting all of our zoning regulations. Similar to the Delta Center parking structure that was just approved via a development agreement. So technically, it'll be going through the text amendment process. That's as close as a process that we have in this city. And so I haven't seen any of those plans yet, but the alley, so there's 3 processes on this specific property. So there's the alley vacation, there's the partial street vacation, and then a development agreement. And all of those need to be approved by the council.
I think some of us are kind of interested just because this is the first we've heard about hospital site plans moving forward in a while. But I understand that we're gonna hear more pretty soon.
Yeah. So I've been meeting with the architecture team, site development team for Intermountain, and they're for that site. So pretty much 9 out of the 10 acres outside of like the Sapa restaurant and that ownership. That site has two processes that they'll need to go through for the hospital design. So there's the conditional use. So when the rezone and the development agreement were adopted, the hospital use and the helipad were both approved or adopted as conditional uses, not permitted uses. So essentially, that just gives the planning commission the opportunity to review the plans and make sure the negative impacts are spoken to prior to construction. And then they'll also need to go through a design review. So part of the development, sorry, my voice is crappy. I had laryngitis, so I sound crazy, but they'll need to go through the design review to modify the D1 design standards. So some things were in the development agreement. That includes things like building length. There's a 200-foot building length limit in the D1 zone, and as part of the development agreement, the hospital is exempt from that. The development agreement also speaks to entrances, like vehicular entrances, required open space, mid-block connections, but we didn't put every design standard in there because it's impossible to speak to everything without plans, right? So they will need to go before the planning commission with the design review package. And at that time, we will bring it back to you guys for review, and it'll be the same 45-day public comment period that they're going through right now for the offsite parking.
Any alley plan, I know, so Amanda, also the process in general of giving up an alley has changed this year.
It has.
We have some alleys that are occasionally problematic in the community, and folks have tried to maybe vacate alleys in the past and gotten some pushback. It'd be helpful to just understand a little bit about how the process has changed.
Yeah, so it's a legislative process, so we consider factors, the council considers factors, not standards. So with a design review, for example, a project needs to meet all of the standards or the planning commission cannot approve it, right? Or we have to assign a condition of approval to mitigate the reason that they're not meeting said standard. But with legislative items, including alley vacations, there's factors for the council to consider, but it doesn't have to meet all of them. So with the new process, some of the factors have changed. So for example, like the urban design factor was removed. And I can pull up the text amendment, the ordinance as well. But the main thing that changed was the process. So previously, regardless of public input or city input, it would go to the planning commission for a recommendation and then move forward to the city council. Now, if there's not any issues with internally with the city, so these go through a review by engineering and transportation, public utilities, planning. If there's no internal concerns and there's no major community concerns, then the planning director can be the entity that makes that recommendation straight to the council. So they essentially just skips the planning commission.
Okay.
And that's
And it's still like the same percentage of adjacent property owners have to sign on and agree.
Yeah. So that's the same. So it's 75%. In this case, there's two property owners. It's the Ken Garf, right, and IH. But yeah, property owners still need to sign on. We have to have that documentation. And then if the alley is vacated, if the council approves it, then they continue to work with real estate services to split it down the middle between the property owners. And for a commercial zoning district, and there's a couple other factors. The property owners have to pay market rate for that alley for it to be split. If it's a residential alley, like in like a single family zone that runs with, just the typical alley that we think about, then we split it down the middle, but the property owners don't have to pay for that extra land.
That's great. I know recently some folks in Liberty Wells found out that their house had been built on part of an alley, just
Yeah.
lot size, confusing history of lots, and they were totally freaked about like, we just bought the house, we can't afford to also buy this alley, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the alleys throughout the city, especially I have a house in central communities, so there's tons of alleys, and there's what we call the paper alleys, which you're aware of, but some residents might not, where they're on a plat or they're just the historical alley, but they don't really exist, and so there's structures over them, or they've never been used as an alley, and so those ones are easier to vacate. And then you have some alleys that are still used as like thoroughfares.
Yeah. Looks like Sharon has a question about projected timeline for the bill. Good question, Sharon.
I can let Chad speak to that one.
For the parking garage that's related to the offsite parking, is that the question, or the hospital itself?
The hospital.
I don't think we know that yet. We're still pretty early on. We're still kind of designing, so I don't think we really have a good handle on that at this time.
Yes, council member.
I'm just wondering, some folks might be wondering, okay, well, why do you need this sky bridge? What's the purpose? And I could see sky bridges being both great, or they could not be great, depending on how they go. So I'd love to just hear a little bit about, what's the thought and the intention behind the sky bridge.
Sure. Yeah, so the intention really behind the skybridge was to allow us maximum flexibility for the Sears block. So as you can imagine, there's a number of things in terms of infrastructure that we need to put in on the hospital site itself. And so having an offsite parking garage will allow us more flexibility there. The other thought process behind that was to add some additional safety for our caregivers that would park at that parking garage. We have shifts going 24 hours a day. And so giving them some flexibility, at 2 a.m. or something, to walk safely from the hospital site over to their car via skybridge, I think is kind of a nice comfort for some of our caregivers that are working those later shifts or odd hours. They're not trying to cross the street at 2 a.m. or something like that. So it's kind of a mixed approach.
Did you ever look at going underground versus a sky bridge? I just remember the City Creek sky bridge, which was very controversial.
So Chad's with our real estate team, not with our design and construction team. Steve, do you want to answer that?
Sure. My name's Steve. I'm an architect at Intermountain. I'm the overall project manager. And we haven't looked at going underground. We have looked at going underground for other aspects of the project, and it's very difficult. As you know, there's a pond on the site, so we have high groundwater, and it's very expensive to constantly pump that water out and dump it into the storm drain, where essentially pulling it out of the aquifer. But also virtually all 4 of those streets have a lot of underground utilities. there's a lot down there, and trying to, get your way through those is difficult, to say the least, but, in summary, we didn't look at that. We do have a crosswalk on the street as well in mid-block, the pedestrian way, as well as the skybridge.
Okay.
No comment, Sharon. Hospital can be lovely. I've seen some nice designs. Huntsman's lovely. So. All right, well, we appreciate the update.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as a quick recap, so this specific site will have 3 different processes associated with it, and they're all legislative. So you have the alley vacation, the proposed skybridge, which is a partial street vacation, and that has not been applied for. And then the development agreement for the parking structure, because they do not anticipate it meeting the D2 design standards. And then on the actual hospital site, there's the conditional use permit, design review. There's potentially a plan development. So the plan development speaks more to base zoning, like setbacks or landscape requirements, even though those are in the DA. But as of right now, I think it's just going to be the design review. Obviously, I don't have those like solid plans yet, and then so the hospital site will not go back to the city council. It will go to the planning commission and we'll restart 45-day comment period. And I'm going to tie those petitions together and just give it as a, one project, one staff report. And then I also, when I met with them last week, I didn't realize Steve was there. Hello. Suggested going to a work session with the planning commission because, well, it's been 3 years, right? So we have new commissioners. So give everybody an update on how we got to where we are with the zoning, with the development agreement, give them background and allow them to see the proposal and then also the phasing of the project before bringing it with full design plans and asking them for a vote on whether to approve it or not. So if anyone has questions on city processes, I'll be the planner on both sites with all those different processes. So I'm happy to answer anything or direct you to a person that can.
Okay. Moving forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. See you guys soon, hopefully.
We do hope. We're looking forward to hearing more. Rebecca, you want to talk to us about trees and green space? I hope you can hear. We are actually interested.
Yeah, it actually seems very relevant to what you all have been talking about. So I'm Rebecca. I am an undergraduate student at the University of Utah studying environmental science. I'm working in city and metropolitan for research right now. And basically we're doing a project and we are getting residents' input and stakeholders and community leaders for how they perceive green space mitigates extreme heat in Salt Lake City. So we'll just be conducting interviews and then compiling it into we're gonna analyze it later on, but for this first part, we're just conducting interviews so we can see how you guys think green spaces mitigate heat and blue spaces and if there's a lack thereof in your community and just kind of your thoughts on that. So I have a little sign-up sheet here I'll pass around. I also have these little flyers if you guys want. It just says a little bit more about it as a QR code to also sign up for an interview. The interviews are 40 to 60 minutes and they'll just be via Zoom. So if you sign up, then we'll reach out to you and we can schedule those. Do y'all have any questions before I ask?
I'm hoping not unlike other projects that come out of Alessandro's students, but this will be incorporated into that climate forward plan.
Yeah.
So. I
Well,
hope-
yeah, we're planning to share all the findings with city planners and city elected officials. But we can't guarantee that they're gonna take what we find, but we will share the results.
I think that'd be exciting.
So feel free to sign up if you don't want to sign up, that's totally okay, but if you, I'll just pass them over.
Can I ask you a question? I don't know if you can answer this, but so obviously with our water shortage, we want to reduce. We want trees, but we don't want grass. Are there certain trees that are low water that are good to have? Is that not something
That's not really something that I can answer that I really know that much about, but I do know there's a lot of xeriscaping going on and trying to figure out a balance between like not just like taking up your lawn and putting rocks, but then like trying to find trees that don't take a lot of maintenance or just having that balance of like we need the canopy and tree cover, but also we don't want to be like pouring all of our water and money into like landscape things.
good answer?
You're not proposing fake plastic trees, Pete.
Some of them. I do like artificial turf. My neighbor has.
We were talking about that again. I don't want to be, I don't want it.
Keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, don't tempt us to sit. About
Trees, astroturf.
Okay, unless I'm forgetting anybody, we've got one final presentation about bee art.
That's right.
Well, that's what it is. Am
It
I
does literally
am I
is, yeah.
mischaracterizing it?
No, that's
No.
a perfect encapsulation.
Okay. Seems like a lot of people who work here might have opinions about bee art. Is there anything else that you need from us, or just?
No, I don't think so.
Working
Unless
on it.
anyone wants a flyer, it pretty much says the same thing and it just has the QR code to sign up online for an interview. But
I know places where people sit around in Ballpark. We can take a few of those and just.
you know,
Coffee shops,
great, thank you.
nice bar, people might care. So, I know somebody else who might take a couple for their local business.
Have a beer, do.
Have a beer, take a
Sign up.
survey. You should do it for all the surveys. It'll be the survey bar.
There you go. Should do it. I think people like having their opinions solicited. At least I hope they do. Oh, is there a link? Do I have a link to this?
Oh, I can send you that right now.
Okay, I know I have a. Let's see. Yeah, I have a link to the happiest website, but maybe not your survey. It took me a while to figure out that happiness stood for something.
Yeah, it's a very long acronym. That's like who is funding our research project. So it's just a climate initiative through the University of Utah.
All right, I will dump it in the chat as soon as I get it. And would you like us to publicize this?
No, that's okay. We're being picky with who we
Yeah.
are wanting to interview. So it's mostly we're wanting to do it like we're not posting on social media or anything. We're wanting to know exactly who it's going to. Okay, I just emailed you.
All right, I will press refresh until it shows up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Okay. I didn't put technical readings info in there. I should dump that in case folks want it. Christopher, tell us about VR.
Okay.
If you would be so kind. Those are some significant looking bees.
Yes, these are not the actual bees.
This is however an example of what we're doing. While I'm talking, I'm just gonna hand out one of these. For everybody here, so. Bees Around the Block is a public art installation that is going to go up on Main Street in Salt Lake City. We have designed and are in the process of creating bees similar to what you see here on the screen. And we're going to create 7 of these to represent each district in Salt Lake City, as the designs will be created by local artists and created with input from the communities. So our vision is to have what it says here, a citywide public art initiative celebrating the identity of the 7 council districts through collaboratively designed bee statues. These are going to celebrate and strengthen the neighborhood identities, create accessible public art experiences. Let's see, there we go. Encourage community connection and story, support local artists and creatives, and finally showcase Salt Lake City's neighborhoods to millions of visitors. So Salt Lake gets, if I understand correctly, about 5 million visitors per year. And there's also a projected additional 5 to 8 million visitors coming in next year with the temple rededication, I think. And so these bees will be displayed on Main Street. Millions of people will walk by, they'll see it, there will be QR codes on the bees that will have information about each neighborhood. Yeah, they will be a good window into each of the unique neighborhoods here. Our current sponsors for these are the Blocks and the Salt Lake City Arts Council. The majority of our funding from this is coming from these 2 organizations, but we are still looking for additional sponsors. So if there are any local business owners who would like to contribute to sponsorship, please reach out to us. Sponsors will have your business displayed on the block that the bees are standing on. So our outline here, what we're in right now is our survey, where we're gathering community input and ideas for the designs on the bees. Our next step is going to be selecting neighborhood artists to help actually create the design that's going to go on top of the bees, the art designs. So also, if you are a local artist or if you have connection to a local artist, please reach out to us, because we definitely want to work with local talent. Once we have gathered all of our information from the survey, and we've selected those artists, we'll work with them and go through the feedback that we get from residents in order to create a unique neighborhood design for each bee. Finally, we will install the statues representing each district. Well, I guess, and then finally, we're gonna have a big party where we reveal everybody, all the bees, and everybody can come see them and celebrate the community. So the installations will go in starting in September. We have 7 statues. You can see the design there. This is what they will look like before we allow the artists. We work with the artists to create the actual design that goes on top of them. They're about 5 feet tall. Like I said, we have 1 representing each city council district displayed along Main Street. Currently, the installation is slated to be up for 1 year with the potential to remain longer. And one of the great unique things about this is that it is designed not just by a local artist, but designed through the engagement with the public and local artists. There's a QR code here for an online survey, which where you can put in your ideas or your suggestions for things that will relate to your local neighborhood, and really like have a hand in designing these. So I'm gonna leave that up for a minute, and then
This is no longer accepting responses.
oh, okay, well.
It does indeed. Try contacting the owner of the farm if you think this is a mistake.
That is a mistake. And unfortunately, I am not the owner of the farm, but I will definitely let them know.
I hope they get relocated to neighborhoods afterwards. I thought,
That would be great. It's great that we're having them on Main Street, Salt Lake City, where lots of traffic is gonna come by and see them, but it'd be really cool to also have them in the actual neighborhoods where the designs are inspired. So if you have additional questions or suggestions, you can contact the project organizer, Landon Krasik. His email is there at the top. Like I said, we are seeking local artists to collaborate with and also local business owners to help sponsor these projects. And then as you can see, the sponsor recognition is gonna go on that block. On that block as well, there will be a QR code where the link will work. And it will link to information about the neighborhood, about the community, to community stories and things so people can get to know the community even better. And finally, in September, when these have been installed, please join us along Main Street to see the bee, have a party, and celebrate the community.
like this September.
That'll be this September. Yeah.
Love it.
You know what part of Main Street, what block or blocks?
It will be they'll be on each side of the street, I believe along 4 blocks going down Main Street. I do not know off the top of my head exactly which blocks that's going to be.
Couple questions. One is, what are the sponsorship level amounts for small businesses? So we can start to poke the nest, encouraging people.
I have it. If I have that.
And I know that's the small business owners in the room too.
They're so small.
That's outrageous.
Emphasis on small.
While you're pulling that
I'll
up,
pull this up.
my next question's probably a little strange, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Mhm.
How heavy are these bee statues?
You know, I have not tried to lift one. So I don't know off the top of my head.
But they would be vertically, like, could they like be hung on wires or like in their future use?
Skybridge.
I believe so. The bees are being 3D printed.
Okay, so they might.
So they're not like carved out of marble or anything.
Yeah.
So I believe they're heavy enough to stand there and, you know, not
Somebody
get
can't
knocked
carry
over,
them.
but yeah, I believe they could be hung from wires, as long as the wires were strong.
So are they somewhat indestructible from people who like to destroy things?
That's.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope. I'm sorry, this is not my computer.
Oh.
I had to borrow it because I don't have a laptop myself, and so I'm trying to find this on here, but I believe from off the top of my head, the sponsorship packages are $500, $1,000, and $2,000.
Right.
And just a question to clarify, they're based on community, not community council districts, but they're based on city council districts, like District 5
Yes.
is what we're putting input on the.
Yeah, so
Would
it won't,
encompass the
so it
whole-
won't be specifically a B for, like, specifically for Ballpark, but it will be for
District 5.
For District 5. And we are going to all of the different community council meetings to get input from all of the different neighborhoods. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna find this, but I believe it's $500, $1,000, and $2,000.
Ooh, nope. Found it. Or it goes up to 6,000. 6,000 is the queen bee sponsor. Sponsor a whole bee.
That's the bee, queen bee.
2,000 is the drone bee.
The worker
And,
bee.
yeah, and 500 to the worker bee. This is very classless.
Right.
So,
Can we put some jelly in there?
Yeah. Royal jelly.
Yeah.
but yeah. Well, it seems fun. I remember in Washington DC when they had the party animals going, they had like 100 of them, different donkeys and elephants all across the city. They were super fun to find, but they weren't all in one place. They were like disseminated, so you would have to go places to find them. They were neat. You're nodding at me like either you saw some of those yourself or.
But didn't Salt Lake have like a bunch of animals around?
There was moose.
Was that? Yeah, I think like
Yeah. Like all different, like painted different things.
yeah.
I remember that too.
Well, in terms of charming things that our neighborhood loves that people are working to protect, there is a people are coalescing around protecting the Coachman's sign, which, as we all know, Coachman's building has come down. But there's an effort to work with the CRA, our council member, our sitting Utah representative, Preservation Utah, because we all realize we've all been pleasantly surprised by the Coachman sign over the years. Almost threatened.
Yes. Pleasantly surprised.
Anyway, we all want that sign preserved and people are working on it. So I just thought folks on this call might appreciate knowing that.
And,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, connected to the Coachman sign, I have this wild idea, and I think some others do too, of creating somewhere in Salt Lake City where there's an outdoor vintage sign, like museum. And the Coachman sign could be a part of that. And I was like thinking maybe we could have some of these bees as part of that too, as like a part of that public art installation or placemaking.
The Taco Time cactus.
Taco type cactus,
They
yes.
cannot be.
Yeah, like
The keys,
granite furniture.
keys. Yes, exactly.
the furniture globe.
Yeah, wild idea, still dreaming, ice cream
yeah,
cone, still dreaming,
yeah.
but we're saving the signs first. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. So Patrick with Preservation Utah
Right.
is a dear friend and well, never mind. Yes. I think that they are working on having a Save Our Sign event. And I don't know very much, it's still in the works, so I won't say anything more than that, but they're just waiting for the Saba group to give them a bill of sale. And then once they do that, then they can start raising money to have Yesco, who actually made the sign, take it, create it, and store it for some time. For a finite amount of time.
90 days.
And then, they have to collect the money. So they're trying to. But I don't know when anything more than that, that's
Even during this meeting, conversations have been bopping back and forth, so.
so exciting.
We all love that sign.
Yes.
It's so weird.
The restaurant was sort of fun too.
Some people had a lot of fun.
So
there.
fun. Much fun.
Felt like a womb. If you went there on a winter day, you're snowing.
Greasy velvet
Yeah,
wool.
it's like they kept the temperature like 85 degrees and you go in there and it's all red. I was like, it's so warm.
I remember coming up here from Utah County.
I love that place.
Council member, do you have any tidbits to share with us about what's happening? We didn't talk about this. So I don't mean, I'm not trying to set you up or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, would you care to share anything? Good luck next Tuesday picking another council member.
Yes, well, that is definitely happening. So we had, I believe, 27 people apply for the vacancy. Each person will have some time to talk and then we will take a vote. If there's a majority, 4 of us who select, the same person, then that we turn around and city recorder swears that person in, and that's a new council member for District 4 until the election happens next November. So that's happening. If not, it'll go to a second vote. We will narrow it down, and the process by narrowing it down is a little funny. There's a dice involved and pulling names out of hats involved.
This is democracy.
This is democracy, and we're following state law. State law governs how vacancies have to be filled.
It used to be that you guys got more than one vote, and then
We'll do our first vote. If there's not a majority, then we'll have a second vote.
right. It used to be that you got more than one. You got like 3 or 4 votes as an individual to cast for people, just because there always is a lot of people.
Yes.
Who, 27 folks is you could get 6 separate vote.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You could rank choice vote.
We could, but unfortunately, state law
They got rid of it.
yes, is dictating and has really tightened up how we fill vacancies. So we have to follow what the state has set out. But we will have a new council member. And we've got a lot of people who put their name forward, and I'm just appreciative to anybody who steps forward and says, I want to serve my community. The other thing that's happening is, as you know, we are in budget season. So there is a proposed property tax increase. The current proposal is about a $13.5 million property tax increase. It works out roughly to about $7 to $8 for the average homeowner each month. This is in addition to increases that are coming with public utilities. So that's your water, sewer, stormwater, garbage. And I don't take those increases lightly, because I know everybody is really struggling right now. And so I'm going through the budget line by line, thinking about what are nice to haves, but what can we do to try to pull back that burden that we're asking property taxpayers to take on right now. So if you have particular programs that you're like, Erica, do not cut this, or Erica, consider cutting back on this, I want to hear about that. So please contact me. And then last but certainly not least, happy Pride. This weekend. And I love that we have a capital city that acknowledges and celebrates Pride. And of course, we raised our flag of Sego Lily flag of belonging yesterday, which I think is just a big deal. Big deal. So that's it.
Okay. Great meeting, everybody. Be free. I meant less than any other announcements.
Do you need to talk about it? We're having a meeting next month.
Oh, next month, our meeting would fall on July 2nd. July 3rd is a federal holiday. You might want to go blow things up. It's not usually a successful thing to have a meeting the night before a 3-day weekend, so we will, unless something very weird happens, our intention will be to not meet next month. Enjoy your 3-day weekend. Do not feel compelled to blow things up, because
You're talking about fireworks.
yes, sorry, yeah, oh gosh, yeah, no, sorry. In our neighborhood, there are a lot of fireworks.
Gosh, there
A whole
is,
lot.
yes.
So, and you worry about dry grass, and yeah. So, anyway, happy holiday in advance. I'm gonna sneeze again, so.
Folks didn't really care.
Maybe I'll stop recording before I sneeze.
Well, hi, Jeff. I didn't know.